the light mode of it. But anyway, um, so welcome and hello. This is the first meeting in a while. Um, but figured it was about time that we kind of start to pick this back up. Um, so I haven't personally even looked at like the board, like any of this stuff in a bit. So I kind of wanted to spend a little bit of time to reevaluate what our current like milestones are and where like
Mm.
what we want to do with the project at this point. So we have our
If you want,
miles.
I did actually do some changes, or I moved things around like a day or two ago. So if you want, I could explain like the things I did in the last day, and then we could go from there.
Oh, sure.
Okay. So the most obvious things was Nate dropped a bunch of pull requests on us with a bunch of important bug fixes or small, even a feature improvement or a feature add, which was the prefix no forward. So that was minus the feature. All of those bug fixes went into that 2.0, 2.0.1 release, which you can see some of that is on the screen there. And so I did have a chance to look at some of the issues around 2.1, which was going to be more of a feature release, which currently we have completed for that is the no forward feature that Nate added. But also, I was looking through that, and we had a couple issues, and then the Imgur one. The Imgur one, I figured we could talk about because it's been a while, and that was a really big one. But all the other issues under this milestone for 2.1, they were all kind of features related to or about basically IRC features, really like Nick serve stuff and a little more connection configuration options. So my thought was these are all things that I think are pretty, I should say, simpler tasks, but I think they're really important to make TeleIRC useful at a basic level. Like if you need to authenticate with a NixServe account, or if you have an unusual, a non-standard IRC configuration with different ports, or I guess we have port, but other things like certificates, be nice to make those available and configurable. The question that I wasn't sure about was, well, I put this out there. I don't know if that makes sense to you all of making like 2.1 a IRC focused release, but there's also the Imgur handler, which was the big open question. And I figured we could talk about that one today. I just put that on the meta milestone. So there's also a bunch of stuff on here that we could look at. And see if we want to bump or if it's something that we have bandwidth to work on sooner than later. But the milestones are probably more up to date than the project board. I kind of kept that up to date, but it probably needs some triage. Over.
Yeah, like the project board is quote unquote up to date with the like what things were previously in our current sprint. Um, like this was an issue that Kevin was working on, but I unassigned him from this yesterday, um, because I'm not sure that he is uh, going to be working on this. Um,
Yeah. I've pinged him a couple times, but haven't heard from him. But I know he relocated and he graduated, so he might have
yeah.
just had to move on to other stuff.
So I moved that back from in progress to current sprint, and then we have these three, which were part of that 2.1 that you got, um, and then I guess the variable is this one, and whether or not we want to add this into the current sprint or push it off after 2.1 and then truly make this an IRC focused um, one. So I just want to see quickly what all of the IRC tasks that we have are. So okay, we just have two more besides that. Um, okay, so I'm personally, if we look at the 2.1, uh, I'm personally okay with this being a 2.1 release because these are things that people have requested quite often, and especially the next server authentication I think is really important regardless. So I think these are just really, really good issues that we could have, and I think focusing on these could be really, really good. And just having these three, I feel could make this a pretty lean release if we decide to just work with these three for the 2.1 release. What do you guys all think?
Yeah, I mean, it really just depends, I think, on when we want this release to go out, right? Because like, if we want to say we're gonna add only these features, then I think we'll have it out relatively soon. But if we wanted to tack more stuff on, it would be later. So I guess it really just depends how incremental we want our releases to be, which I don't know how much we've actually discussed that.
Yeah, so we have three of us. If we wanted to do this, we could do a 2-week release goal and just have each of us take one of these issues. That could be one
Yeah, I
possible
had the
method of doing
radical
that.
idea of maybe trying to do a release every sprint or every other sprint, just so that way we keep a cadence. Even if it's small stuff, at least we're releasing, making some progress continually.
Mm-hmm. So like pretty much just having much smaller sprints with the goal of having a release every sprint. So where
Okay.
normally we would have like maybe 6 issues in a sprint, or like in like 6 to 10 issues and like a release, we just stick with the really lean sprints and just do quick small releases every couple weeks to a month. I think that could be good.
Are we following semantic versioning? I actually can't remember.
I believe we are for the most part.
That's what
Okay.
I've been doing. So I actually have a tab open here. One thing that I did want to put on, just as an issue that probably will go on here, you know, it won't really be a feature, but just I was thinking that we didn't really have a process of how to cut a new release of TeleIRC. So I was thinking that I would just do like a quick doc on how to cut a release of TeleIRC to explain how I have done it so far. But I have used semantic versioning. That's how I've tried to indicate rate of change on the progress or on the project. So that's something that I don't have up there yet, but I have a tab open. Just thought that might be helpful to add documentation for that too.
I think that would be good.
Cool.
We do have the builder and the Docker file that we could use for cutting releases, but I don't know. We haven't really touched that since like 5 months ago, so I don't really know.
What are you referring to?
So the way we had the Docker file set up, we have like 2 stages, and one of them is for building it, and you could just get the binary out of that for a release. At least I don't remember. Are we only doing a x86 binary, or did we
At the
build
moment.
for other architect? Okay,
So if
then
I
yeah,
go to our releases, we can see that we're just doing this for the
gotcha.
binary.
Compiled on my hardware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be open to adding more, especially for ARM, since ARM is really starting to become a little more prominent.
For sure.
But I just don't know. I haven't explored automation for that. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
I haven't figured it out.
Does the CI have any way to do build artifacts on GitHub, or I haven't really explored CI on GitHub a lot.
I would assume so, but yeah, we've never dug into it. We've never really tried to at this point.
Because that'd be really cool if like we could just be like, oh, we're building artifacts for like every commit. So if we want to cut a release, we just say, okay, this is the release, and then it just like grabs the artifact for that commit, and that's what's on the release. But I don't really know if there's a way to do that with GitHub.
Well, MatterBridge does release a ton of architectures. Darwin, FreeBSD, Linux, all the BSDs, even Windows. So I don't know how MatterBridge does it, but it looks like they have a Go releaser.yml. Okay, this might be something to look into. I'll put this link in the chat. Actually, yeah,
I'm
Tim's
looking
got it
at
up on the screen there.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at this before now, but this looks like I don't know what tool they're using.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Interesting. Looks like they have they have all these different operating systems for the Go OS and architectures, and it just does it automatically. Looks like.
Can you scroll up to the top of that file? Oh wait, is that the top of that file?
Yeah, it is. It's
Oh,
called
okay.
releaser.yaml in the root over here. I want to see
Interesting.
if it is in here at all. Go no. So it's not in the CI. But yeah, that would be interesting to.
I think that might be GitHub Actions, but I'm not sure. I looked up because I was
That's what I
curious
was
if
looking at. They have some
they had a way to
workflows.
do artifacts. Yeah, that's the same. You're probably on the same page that I am, but this looks like it could be very handy. Oh, that's interesting. They even have like in the example on here, they even have like a code coverage HTML output. So you can just like download the code coverage for any commit too, which is really cool. So I guess it's pretty customizable. Definitely might be something to look into so that we don't even
open
have
an
to release
issue. Yeah, I can open an issue for that too. Of just maybe instead of docs just automating the release process.
Yeah, I think that could be something worth looking into to make it as simple as possible for people to run TeleIRC instead of having to physically get Go and build it and all that.
Yeah, I've just been
Yeah.
thinking about all this stuff because I'm actually working on DevOps right now at my job for the next 3 months. So this is all very fresh in my mind.
Got all the experience for this stuff.
Yeah, well, not yet. Technically, I'm starting to work on that like on Tuesday. So
Okay.
it's just we've been talking about all this for like a month. So because we're running into the same sort of stuff at work.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Yeah,
So I'll
so
put that on the backlog. Probably not for this sprint, but I'll make sure that it gets up there. I have a tab open to remind me.
okay.
Cool.
So I guess if we want to quickly like do this, if we want to, so what we could do is throw these IRC issues onto the current sprint, and I guess now that we just cut a release, we can archive these, and just work with these 3 IRC issues, make it focused towards IRC, and then maybe work on Telegram for the v2.2 release. That might be something worth looking at. But
yeah, I mean, I was actually thinking I could probably take number 113 because I know that's going to be a tiny one, and I haven't actually submitted any Go pull requests, like actual code changes. So I figured that might be an opportunity for me to get my feet wet a little bit.
Okay.
So I can take that one because I have a feeling it'll probably be a smaller one, and I just haven't worked on any code contributions yet. So that'll be a new change for me to get me a little more experience.
Yeah. So then what do we have left? We have show message when authenticated with Nixserve. So it looks like this one is almost blocked on the actual Nixserve authentication working.
Yeah.
So I had dug into this a little bit, and it appears, I don't know if this is the same thing because I haven't looked directly into why Nixserve isn't working for us, but MatterBridge had an issue similar to this once upon a time, and they just had to move some stuff around on how they on how they actually handled it. And then that made it work. It was just like a timing thing or something like that. Like something was
The
happening
order
where
can be
like
so particular on
it
this
literally
stuff.
like they put a sleep in here to make sure that it was caught. Like it was literally a timing. It was literally a
Oh,
timing thing. So like I yeah, like you can
Uh,
look at it more. It's linked in here in the issue, but it just seemed like it was just some weird timing issue where they needed to be in a specific state before they could do the next serve. So I haven't looked into why we are failing, but that could be a potential thing, like a potential reason why it's not working for us. But yeah.
I'm hoping we can find a more elegant solution than sleeping.
Yeah,
Because that's
I
so.
don't know. I don't like it would be yeah. So, that's what's going on with that one, and then I guess the other one is just when just adding it into the logger that when like even saying next serve authentication failed, like something like that, like doing it both ways, like it's just pretty much just like a logging issue.
yeah,
Um,
actually, even some error handling there too. Just because I found, if it does fail, you just get you either get an EOF, an IO connection error, or it might tell you SASL authentication failed. So some error handling for if authentication doesn't work would also be
mhm.
nice to have too.
Yeah. I almost wonder if it would be. I don't know if this is too niche, but having like a logging label for like related to logging. But I don't know if that's something that we need to do.
Maybe
Um,
change it. Maybe I could change the ops one because I just don't think we ever use that one because we don't really talk deployment a whole lot. So I could just change the ops label to logging if that would be helpful.
so can you actually? This is something that I don't quite understand, but why we have these 4 issues here, and why they're different than the other issues that we currently have. Like why
You mean
like
the
what's the
labels?
T, like what's the T, and why, yeah, like why are these done this way while the others are just normal?
Yeah. So I grouped those together because I view those things as more of like metadata about what kind of change is this or what kind, like sometimes for an issue, I feel like research is helpful because you need to do more work on it. I was actually thinking of grouping some of the other ones similarly. Um, I'm not really married to the whole idea. It's just a way that I thought these like T means type. That's what I think of the T to mean. So it's just like what kind of issue or pull request is this? Is it about contributor experience, which is actually going to be more about like automation or making it easier to contribute to the project? Ops, I haven't really used that one at all. Quality assurance, I use all the time for any like CI related stuff.
So
Research, I use time to time on issues when we
like
need
I
to
get
dig a little
that.
deeper.
Like my question is specifically around the type indicator and why like these labels are all inherently a type of what the issue is. So I'm just wondering why
Mm,
only these 4 specifically have the T in it, because it throws me off a lot. And like me personally, I would just prefer to have contributor experience or something like that. Um,
got
so
it.
I like my thinking is just like why does it have a type and why can't it just be the label itself? It like you can explain why you do it that way. It just really throws me off when I see it on an issue because I'm just not quite
Mm,
sure why they're done in that way compared to like differently than the other issues we have.
yeah. I I could share my screen really quick and show you another project that is maybe a little more where I've built. I don't know if you don't if I can show you this and if it makes sense, we can not do that or we could switch to that to make it. Why is my screen? Why is Jitsi not letting me share my screen? Oh, okay. Block temporarily. One more time. There we go. So this is for another project where I kind of built on that. So the same issue labels we have here are there, except I changed the T to a D to mean description. I also grouped these ones that are a little more like they require some kind of follow-up or action. So A for action, like needs changes, needs info. And usually you only use one of these at a time. Similarly, you only usually use one of these at a time. Not always, but usually. And then I changed the bug, improvement, new change, because you also usually only do one of those together to a T to type description for that. I guess I grouped them that way because usually you're only going to use one of those kinds of labels together on an issue or pull request. But and I'll put a link to that in the chat if you want to check it out. But again, I'm not totally married to the idea, and if we want to remove the types, or if we want to do it like the one I just showed, I could organize them that way if that would make a little more sense. But I'm open to feedback.
Nick, do you have any thoughts on?
I mean, I get the action thing versus like, well, kind of. I guess I'm just confused about like description versus type. Seems like it's the same thing, but maybe I'm just missing. Like, also, I feel like action and description might be helpful, but aren't those both like subsets of type? That's what it seems like to me intuitively. The, like, both actions and descriptions are that type of issue.
Maybe instead of type, we could do like change type for bug, new change, improvement, because those I think usually describe like what kind of change are you introducing? Is this new functionality, a new feature, like the no forward pre pull request, or like an improvement, bug, some improvement, something that already exists. You're just making it better. Bug is something broken. Maybe type isn't the best word. For me, the description or the blue labels, the one that like contributor experience and quality assurance, that just helps me if I'm like scrolling through really fast to be like if I see a quality assurance label, I know that of all the people on the team, that's probably going to be me that's looking at it, because I've poked around with CI a lot for the project. But one that might be more like research, that just tells me like, okay, we're not going to jump in on that one yet. Like we're going to have to do some digging before we can write code. Like we have to figure out how we're going to do that.
Yeah, like we're all on board with what they what they are. Like I agree. Like we've used research, quality assurance, and all these like quite often. It's just that T that throws me off.
Okay, what do you think would be a better way of doing it? You just want to drop the letter?
I propose that we just go back to what we did, where we just drop the letter, and it's just research, quality assurance, ops, and contributor experience, and just keep them in line with the other issues. Because so my thinking is that I want labels to be as simple as they can be, because they should be very straightforward. And if you're new to the project, you're scrolling through and looking at these issues, and then you see these random T's in here, and you're not quite sure what they signify. And for me, like I'm not sure what they signify, so I don't put these on issues, because I simply like have just been very confused about uh the T. So like I propose that we either do this for every issue we have, we do this grouping, or so it's pretty much it's an all or nothing for me. It's either we do it for all the issues or we get rid of it for these 4.
I'd be happy just to drop the T.
Okay, what do you say about that, Nick?
Fine with me. I mean, yeah, I guess I still didn't really understand what the T is for, so I think it's fine to drop it.
Oh, and maybe alphabetical sort was part of my bias, but it's no big issue. So I'm going to go ahead and edit those now, though, and I'll drop the T, and we'll just go forward from there. Sound good?
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Sure. So you want to go back to the last 2 issues, just make sure we're figure out. And I guess we're also doing 2-week sprints still. Are we going to go with that structure again?
Yes. So if I go back to the board and do the screen sharing thing. Um,
Have we decided what we're gonna do about testing?
I'll be
Because
back in 1 minute.
oh, okay.
Testing in what way?
Because like I know when we were finishing stuff up in the spring, we wanted to like round out the testing because right now we're not testing a lot of stuff. But I know we had most of the handlers tested for IRC, but I don't think we got too far on Telegram unless I am misremembering.
Yeah, so the whole unit testing and where we left off on that. So for Telegram, I believe the last two that we needed were for the update handler and then for the telegram.go file. And then for
Oh yeah, yeah,
IRC, I believe it was just the IRC.go file.
yeah.
And these are the ones that I believe we left off. We weren't entirely sure the best method to go about this. But yeah, so these would be the last three in relation to unit testing. Because I believe we had a lot of concerns about there were a lot of things to mock out because a lot of them
Yeah.
a lot of these two files specifically were pulling in third-party libraries. Like these were the files that were actually using the IRC framework, like bot library and the Telegram bot API library. And so we had a lot of concerns about how we were going to truly go about this. And so like I think we really honestly need an entire meeting focused on just these two files, the IRC.go and the telegram.go, and really just actually go through them like all together and figure out the best way to do that. Because I think we just have a lot of like mental blockers as to how specifically we wanna go through them. Yeah.
Do you think that'd be helpful to do as a dedicated sprint, like in the next sprint, maybe?
I think it could, yeah. Like I honestly think that, because these will require quite big. These will be adding a lot of tests that we don't currently have, and so I think it could be worth it after our current sprint to really like just get these out of the way, because I know we had that unit testing sprint and we did really well with that, but we've still been iffy about these files. So I think the sprint after the one that we're doing right now, I think that could be a good idea to do a release specifically based off of finishing our unit testing. I think that would be just good to get that out of the way. So then that would mean that the meeting 2 weeks from now, if we're meeting every week, then like next week would be halfway through the current sprint of the 3 issues that we're doing, and then so 2 weeks from now would be a meeting where we focus specifically and we dive into these files and really try to figure out how we're going to go about testing, and then split up that work and like between the 3 of us and just kind of get that done with, if that makes sense with all of you.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah. Do we want to go ahead and set up the next sprint column as the as a just all the testing issues?
Sure. So update handler. Okay. So photo sharing. I suppose we can throw that on the backlog for now. This is the next feature item that I think we should work on.
Yeah.
But in terms of, we're not really focusing on features. We're trying to get uh, these sort of things out of the way. So yeah, you can grab that. Yeah, there we go. So then that would be the IRC.go, Telegram.go, and the update handler. I think that would be really good for the following sprint. If we want to stay in cadence with kind of one issue per person per sprint. So okay. So with that, we should really go ahead and just assign these between me and Nick. So
Who wants to
Nick,
start working first?
yeah. So Nick, do you have any uh, I can't even think of that word. Do you care what
Preference?
issue? Yeah,
Preference?
preference is the word. Yes. Do you have any preference between the two?
No, I mean I'm fine with whichever one you.
Now, hey Nick, I just had a question. So I know you said that you're balancing a lot of stuff, and you weren't sure how much you were going to be able to put in the project. I'm just wondering, do you think is this stuff that is this giving you value to work on these things? Or I know you had mentioned the Imgur feature. I was just wondering if you could take on one of these things. Or the other idea I was thinking was we could have someone start working on the Imgur stuff now, since that's going to take some time, and not release it this sprint, but maybe that's like a 2-sprint thing. Like, I just want to make sure that you're getting something out of this, because I know you've got a lot on your plate and there's a global pandemic going on. And,
No, I understand. Yeah, I'm fine doing this this sprint, and then I'm fine with finishing up the testing next sprint. And then after that, I think, or during the testing sprint, I think it would make sense to start looking at the Imgur stuff, if that makes sense to you guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Okay.
Cool. Just wanted to make sure that everyone, I know everyone's got other stuff going on in life, and we're all just volunteering on it. So just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. So I know for me personally, these next 2 weeks are going to be strenuous on me to get a lot of stuff done. So if you don't mind, I will take the simpler one.
Sure. Yeah.
And do that. While because after these 2 weeks, I should be free. That's just when I have a lot of tight deadlines that I need to hit with classwork and things like that. So if you don't mind me assigning this one to you, if I can find you on the list. And then okay, I guess we can keep these tags on here.
I always, personally, my preference is whenever I assign an issue, if something is tagged help wanted, I remove that, just so that way someone doesn't jump on and be like, I can help with this.
I guess we can also get rid of that as well. Yeah. Since it's already, yeah, okay. So that should be good there. Are we all set with, okay. All right, so we have everyone assigned here. So it looks like we're good there. Next sprint, we're gonna be focusing on testing. And then long term, 2 sprints out, we want to work on some more feature related items. So, okay.
Sounds like a plan to me.
And then I guess yeah,
the docs one.
Yeah.
I'll come back to that, but for now, it'll help, I think, to do 1 or 2 sprints, and maybe after the testing sprint, actually, because that was kind of the thing with the auto doc piece. Mm-hmm. I just remember I hit issues with the code, with the read the doc stuff. I got to dig through that again. So maybe after the testing sprint, I can pick that one back up.
Yeah,
just because
it's
then we
not
might have a
super
little
pressing.
more.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I don't like having things blocked, but it's not super pressing. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah. So okay, cool.
we'll just let's earmark that to revisit after the testing sprint, because then
Mm.
hopefully I think it was waiting for a bug fix or something upstream.
Yeah, I
I'll
remember.
follow up on it.
Yeah. So okay, so I think this should be really manageable for a 2 week time period, and yeah, that's all I have. Is there any other outstanding things that we didn't cover, or things that you're wondering about that have happened in the past 6 months? Because I know we've been doing some like very super asynchronous, like very slow development, uh, but yeah.
Yeah, I know what we did. What happened with the zero width space? What did we end up
Yeah,
doing? I know you did something with it.
so basically, the initial implementation of it was the way that we did it uh with the Node.js version, and it didn't work in Go. And I even did the unit testing the same way, so it quote unquote passed, but it didn't actually do the functionality that we wanted. So the next thing was I needed to fix that, and so I ended up fixing that, and got the actual bytecode in there, like the not even the bytecode, like the actual byte of it. Um, and then that worked, but we didn't have any hooks into the config because some people have complained about having
Yeah.
zero spacing in there, so we needed to add that as a config option. And then so that since that hit into like every one of our handlers, that required a bit of a rewrite in terms of how that was hooked into our handlers. So now how we currently stand is if we go into our handler here, uh, every one of these pretty much has um, the username is gotten in here before we do the formatting.
Yeah.
So they all have this, and then in here uh, is where we just pass in the boolean of whether or not we're showing it or not, and then these functions will go ahead and return the zero space if we allow it, and just do the normal username if we have it off. So that's our current status now. So now we're fully hooked in to the config file, and that is all
So
available.
nice. I don't get pings all the time whenever I talk on the channel.
Yeah. So that was kind of like the issue that turned out small but got bigger. The more stuff that we added to it. But that is done now.
Okay.
I need to actually this annoyed me immensely. This was such an annoying issue because there were always two spaces in IRC, and it was so
I did
annoying.
notice that.
I actually need to test this. I don't know
It does
why.
work. It's running in our channel right now.
Okay, because I don't like I seriously don't know why this fixed it because
It was a really
I don't use this in the Telegram message. Because I have the IRC. Got it.
yeah.
That annoyed me so much.
Oh, well, it was just a config thing. I see.
Yeah, 'cause, like
Yep.
I had
Yep.
IRC. If we go to this file, or if that copies it, view file. Yeah, I had this because I had IRC prefix suffix. And I was like, I don't have any spaces. Like, where's this space coming from? But I guess I never got the Telegram one as well. So that's good. I was yeah. It was
Neighborhood
just
plus plus.
it was just one of the yeah I know it was just one of those things. It just irked me so hard just to see that double space in there. So I'm happy it was such a small simple thing. Um, but yeah, I'm just like going through to see what because we had like 4 issues closed in the past day, so I was happy about that. So the
Yeah.
neighborhood pulled through and got some PRs in there, uh, and yeah, so this one, yeah, we ended up closing this one because it just wasn't. It's while it was something that we could do, it's something that we didn't really feel was truly in our reign, like in what we view TeleIRC as.
It kind of goes against our design principles because it would basically you'd have to start maintaining state, and we're kind of stateless.
Not gonna lie, it wouldn't even have been that. It would have just been creating a file when we start up TeleIRC, and then whenever we start up TeleIRC, we basically check to see if this file exists. Like it's stuff we already do in a way. Like it doesn't mean that we maintain state. It would just be that like this, we would just be checking this file, and if it doesn't exist, we make it and throw the version that TeleIRC is into there, and then just anytime it shuts down and starts back up, it's just checking. It just continuously checks to see if this file exists and whether or not the version in it is the same. So it wouldn't actually make it require state. It would still be stateless. It's just adding a check, same that we do with the .env file. It's still just adding a check,
right?
If that would exist.
I figured in terms of the other things on the backlog, probably not
it's
the
very
most. I think you
low.
said it: high maintenance, low reward.
Yeah, like it's a very low priority. It's something that we could do, but I think it's fair to have it closed unless people bring it up again, basically, and it's something that they really want.
Something that I really want is that CAPTCHA. That would be so nice. There's so much spam in the channels right now, and that would be fantastic.
This okay, where is that CAPTCHA issue?
I think it's like number.
I need to just go to the issues.
It might not even be on the project board actually.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's like cap.
There it is.
Yeah.
And L. Meminger opened it 327.
Like, okay, I have very mixed feelings about this. Me personally, I don't think this is something that IRC should be involved with. I personally think that this is an outside issue from TeleIRC, and that we can make recommendations for for CAPTCHA, because I know we've added that into some of our Fedora channels, and that has worked very well. I personally think this could be a docs issue where we simply state, hey, we're bridging these together. There's a potential that more spam can be brought into one channel or the other. And so here are some recommendations for CAPTCHA bots that we have found that work very well. That's my view on it. I get that this would be neat to hook it into TeleIRC, but I'm not sure if that is something that we should do. So like that's my opinion on it. I don't know what you guys think about this issue.
I think it depends really, where we want to go with the project, right? Because if our whole thing, if our whole pitch is like we're a good choice because we're highly integrated and have features that other bots don't have because they support a wide range of things, or other bridges don't have because they support a wide range of things, but we only support Telegram and IRC. I think adding features that are specific to Telegram and IRC that actually add value might be a good way to go to differentiate ourselves. But again, it really just depends what the goal is with the project.
For me, I think it could go either way. Like I kind of had that realization, the same thing as Tim, that it does maybe not the most Unix principle kind of do one thing and do it well, but I also see the value in it too. That's why I encouraged Nathaniel to open the issue, because I do think from my perspective as a Telegram group admin, it would be so nice to just have, because this is something that's very specific to conversation. And I kind of, for me, like when I set up a new bot for a group, this is really just the one bot that some groups have like 5 bots doing all kinds of different stuff. And if you know what you're doing and you know how to set them all up and configure them, like that's fine. Sometimes it's a lot of work. Sometimes it's nothing at all. I'm okay keeping this on the backlog and maybe just coming back around to it in a future sprint. Once we get some of the more, I'd say, pressing things done that are more core functionality to just doing the bridge well and doing that one thing, I'd be okay coming back to this then, just to see, like, do we want to come up with new ideas for stuff to work on? Like, I do think this could be high value, but I think it's not high value right now. I just think we should keep it on the backlog and maybe look at it in another month or two, or maybe next semester. I don't know.
Totally fair. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying it's something that we should be doing, looking at right now.
I see both sides. I see Nick's side and I see your side, Tim. There's valid parts in both.
Definitely, yeah. So I think this is just like, I just wanted to bring up a small conversation about that, because I don't think we ever truly talked about it. So I just wanted to kind of see where people thought. But once the project is a little bit more mature and we have more features, we can then bring this up again and see at that point in time where we stand on this again. But yeah.
Cool. I can drop a little comment in that issue just so we keep note of our thoughts today whenever we do revisit.
Sure. Yeah, I just wanted to just quickly do a brief look at all the issues we have.
I know we are getting close to the end of the hour, and the Jitsi recording will cut off soon. So maybe any last minute urgent pressing things to cover, or anything that we want to review before officially wrapping up?
No, yeah, I was just gonna do a quick brief look at what we had. Just making sure that we're all on the same page with our issues and things like that. But I think we're good. We have a solid sprint setup, and we kind of have an idea of what we're doing for the following. So yeah, I think that was a good productive first meeting.
Yeah,
cool. Slowly get the wheels back on the train here. I'm excited.
I'm very happy that we're doing this again, because I know it was a little slow. It's in the middle of the semester and it's not the beginning, but it's just good as time.
And I think we learned that last year too, is summer and the beginning of the semester, even before a pandemic, was always hard. So, there's always a challenge of picking things back up. Summer is always a hard time. So, I think now is as good a time as any to get things going again.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's all we really have. So, already,
cool.
See you guys all next week.
Sounds good. We'll catch up soon.
Sure. See you.
See you.
See you guys.